you know, when the caution comes out like that, it just seemed like for the first 3 laps, those guys were able to really put a lot of pressure on us and were probably a little quicker than us for the first 3 laps after a restart. We could get that initial jump from, you know, the restart point into turn 1 and get that first clean lap in, but it seemed like, you know, that during the course of the next 2.5 laps, those guys were pretty strong, and it seemed like for the next 2 or 3 laps, we would just kind of break even with them, and then it seemed like if we could get 6 or 8 laps under our belt, and we could start pulling that margin back out again. And as soon as you start pulling out, then the caution would come out again. You're like, oh, not again. You know, you just hate having to reset it like that, and know that those first 3 laps you just had to be spot on and not let them take advantage of a restart like that. And it was, I mean, you sit there and go, how many times are we going to risk losing this race because of a restart and something that, you know, something's going to get taken away from us here because of this. So. You know, it's very nerve-wracking, but you know, that was the great thing about our race car is it would go from there to turn 1. I mean, it was just awesome. I think we were hands down the strongest car on restarts of getting to this, you know, getting to turn 1 from the restart point.
Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, Tony, Al, your Smart Week. Other than the short tracks and maybe the road courses, will clean air be the factor almost everywhere you go this year? And the other thing is, what one track have you not yet won at?
Well, unfortunately now it's 2.
Oh,
because we got Kentucky now.
Slip
So,
Kentucky in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Guys,
Kentucky and...
I'll probably win Darlington now, and I'll add another track just to keep me 2. So, but Darlington and Kentucky are the 2 tracks we have.
But is clean air going to be vital everywhere except the short tracks and road courses?
It's as time goes on and the sport evolves and technology gets closer and closer and the rules get closer and closer. I mean, that's a variable that's free, is air, and if you can get out in front and get in clean air, it's always going to be an advantage. And it's been that way in Formula One, it's been that way in IndyCar, it's that way in sports car racing. You know, we're running with the World of Outlaws, and it's big in the World of Outlaws. So I mean, it's not just here; it's everywhere that you find that, and it's just because the technology's got so close and the cars have got so close that. It's little differences like that make a huge difference on the racetrack. But do I think it's going to be that way everywhere? Absolutely not. I mean, just the pace was so fast today. It never really slowed down a lot like we thought it would. I mean, the pace was very, very fast. So the tracks that the tires fall off more, it's not near as critical because it seems like you move around more, you know, and the more that the track gets wider and the guys can offset themselves, the less the air becomes a factor.
I'm going to ask if anybody has any more questions for Steve. We'll take those first. Steve Addington, any more questions for Steve? Let's let Mike, and then we'll let Steve go.
Messiah?
No, I'm the knucklehead from Mike Moore. Steve, your rivals want to see the data from your computer on the restarts and stuff like that. Are you going to let them see it publicly? I guess you're going to fight for it.
I'll handle this. No. I'll sit down.
Got it. This means on the building after that.
Anything else for Steve? Steve, we're going to let you go because I know you have some other responsibilities to do. So congratulations on the victory here today. Steve Addington, crew chief of the 14th. All right, let's pick up the questions again. Go ahead, Tom.
Tom Zaleski, Inspector for St. Jersey. Tony, the calendar is March 12th. This is the third, March 11th. This is the 3rd race of the year, and you're in Victory Lane. Is this a hurdle that you cleared, a personal hurdle that you cleared? I mean, because I'm always remembering what even winning in the summer is more of your thing. What you thinking about winning today? What it means?
Not so much the time of year that we're winning at. It's just this has always been a race. I mean, especially when you get so close to. You know, we've been really lucky and fortunate to win so many of the racetracks that we run on the schedule, and the spring is definitely has historically not been our strong suit. You're 100% right on that, but it's they're not going to move this Vegas race to the middle of the summer so we can win one. So we had to figure out how to be good in the spring at some point. But you know, it's just really big from that standpoint. I mean, it's not so much when it is, I guess, as much as just where it is. That's a huge personal accomplishment for me. I take a lot of pride in being good at different types of cars, at least being competitive at different types of cars, and being competitive at different racetracks. And this is one that we've been close a couple times and it got away. So to finally check this off the list, I mean, it's you know, that's what makes today so special. Not so much the time of year that we're getting in, just the fact that we finally got this one. You know, it's hard when you go to a track one time a year and you lose it like we did last year. We had to wait 365 days to come back to have a shot at it again. I wouldn't have probably been in such a bad mood on the airplane last year if I'd known 1 year later we would be sitting here doing this.
Over here to the left, Jim Phelps.
Jim Pels, LA Times. Tony, before you walked in, Gene said you're about the most relaxed he's seen you, I think, since you started the team. I mean, would you say that you found a good balance now between driving and owning since you started the team?
Gene makes it easy. I mean, that's why it's so easy to do what we do, I feel like. I mean, we got a great partner. Gene has been so easy to work with from day one that there hasn't been, he's never sat me down and said, hey, we have to finish here, here, or here. We got to win this many races. He's like, what can we do to make our program better? And that's what I appreciate from Gene's leadership side. I mean, he obviously is a successful businessman. He knows how to work with people, and he knows how to be successful on the business side. And he's really helped me understand how to run the business side of it. But you know, the racing thing's kind of my niche a little more than it was his. So I think we're a good team together. And it's just having a partner like this that gives you the confidence and comes and pats you on the shoulder and says, have fun today and good luck. And it's going to do the best we can. And he doesn't put that pressure on you, so there's not that huge weight on your shoulders. And I think it makes it a lot easier to go out and do what we do each week because you have a partner like that that makes it easy.
Go ahead, Lewis.
On the restart where you went 3 wide to go from third to first, that's really what I wanted to find out because it was very interesting, let's say, to people watching.
It's nice to be on the inside, and we had a lot of real estate down there, but you know, we almost got too good a restart to a certain degree because I got such a good run on Brad that you know, knowing that we can't pull out a line until after we cross the start-finish line, I almost got to him too quick. And so, you know, if we'd got there a foot earlier, I was going to have to check up, and we probably wouldn't have got the opportunity to get underneath him like that. But you know, we all took off at the same time, and I had just enough of a gap to let myself get that run on him. And you know, as soon as we got to the line, it's got a really nice transition from the racetrack to the apron, and you can use it. So it gave us the room to go underneath him. But it didn't have that nice wide arcing entry into one that I wanted to have. But you know, the big thing was when Matt and Jimmy had taken 4 tires and we had taken 2, so we knew that if we could clear those guys, it might give us a little bit of a buffer and have some lap cars that might keep those guys occupied for a little bit to let us get away, because we didn't know if we were going to have 3 or 4 more restarts after that. So you know, it was key to get out front right away and try to build a gap.
Terry, back in the back there, Amy.
Tony, a little more on what Mike was saying. I mean, Jimmy came in here and said they really want to see the mapping sequence. Greg Bickle came in here and said he's never seen a car take off like that on the restarts. Do you see the irony in the fact in 1 week after you had an EFI problem, now everyone wants to use it to find out why you're so good?
I'll let them pop breakers next week if they think that's the key to it. So tell them to shut their engines off once. That's the whole key to making it work. You have to shut the car off one time after the breaker pops. But it's just irony. I mean, it was just bad luck last week. You know, and it wasn't that we were just tromping the throttle. I mean, I was pedaling it to get to the start-finish line, but I got the timing down early on one of the restarts there, and you know, the new tire that they brought, it was easy to get a lot of buildup on the tires on the cautions, and that's why you saw everybody, even you know, through 3 and 4 getting ready to come to the green, you were seeing guys really working hard to keep the tires cleaned off. And I thought we kind of found a sequence of how to do that helped out a lot, and you know, we could do it consistently. So I knew when it was time to go that I could go when I needed to, and knew exactly what to expect. And I think that was a pretty big factor in it. But I can promise you, our teammates with Hendrick will know what's going on. So they're just as good as show. You know, if the roles are reversed, they would make sure we had that information. We will make sure they have that information.
Any additional questions? Right there in the middle, and then we'll go to Mike.
Did you say this was the last question?
Any additional questions? Oh, yeah, well, Mike Mulhern.
I got one more over here.
Go ahead, sir.
Dylan Wise in KCSU from St. George. Hey, of all the drivers that you compete against, the lurk in second place in the closing laps of the race. Is Jimmy Johnson one of the guys that you may be concerned the most about because he's traditionally won a lot of races from that position?
It was funny because they were like, oh, were you sitting there worried about five-time champion there? And I'm sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? He's looking over going, there's a three-time champion over here that I got to pass. So, you just know guys like Jimmy, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, guys like that aren't going to make mistakes at the end. I mean, there's a reason they win a lot of races, and it's because when it comes to the bottom of the ninth and it's time to make that big move, they know how to do that. So, that's what made today a little more special is because it wasn't handed to us. I mean, not only did we have to fight off challenge once, we had to do it about 4 or 5 times in the last 3 laps, it seemed like. So, it makes you feel like you've earned your deal. And every one of those guys took a shot at us at some point, restart. That's why I'm really proud of the effort that we had today. It wasn't just one time that we had to pull somebody off. It was 4 or 5 times we had to pull all those guys off at some point. So you just know guys like Jimmy aren't going to make a mistake like that. And he came down and shook my hand like he always does. I mean, Jimmy's a class act. I mean, he's either the first one to send you a text message saying congrats, or he comes down to victory lane and tells you you did a good job. And, it was pretty cool to see him marvel at our restarts, I guess. That's not the right word to use, but he was giving me a lot of praise about my restarts today.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, NASCAR's talking on a serious note, if that's possible. NASCAR is actually talking about trying to release the data from the top 5 finishers. They haven't decided yet. Do you think that's good or bad? Not just for today, but in general, is that good or bad?
Well, I think, they've got their guidelines of what parameters we're supposed to stay in. And I think as long as we stay in that, I don't know that they need to give all the information away all the time. I mean, there's still a part of having the creativity and guys doing their homework. And I feel like on the Hendrick side, I feel like those guys do a great job. It's really not a big drama for us because we don't do our engine program, but from the Hendrick side, those guys should be proud of what they've done. They worked really hard last year to get this thing ready, and I don't think it's fair that you just give all that information to everybody else because you did a good job. So, I think as long as it stays in the parameters that NASCAR says we're allowed to work in, I think there should be that creativity and the difference in just give hard work away. So I don't think it's right to do that.
Okay, Tony and Jeannie, congratulations to the number 14 team winning here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll see you at Bristol.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.